All right, guys, the purpose of this video is to step you through our work that we're doing here on Navigator Session 7. So if you needed some help on some of these problems, this is where you would come to for help. So your goal for today is to be able to change a fraction into a decimal using long division. I'm going to go ahead and skip down here to our warm-up. Our warm-up, we had 8 cookies shared equally between 3 people. I want to know how much does each person get. Remember our division, the thing being shared comes first, and how many people are sharing them comes second. We learned this week that then this becomes the numerator. My 8 is my numerator. The first number goes on top. The second number goes underneath in the denominator. So 8/3, or 8/3 is the same as 2, because 2 groups of 3 is 6, and I would have 2 leftovers. What I mean by that is if I have 3 people, person 1, 2, and 3 can each get 2 full cookies, and I have 2 leftovers, right? Or I would split these up and they would get 2 of the thirds out of each of them. Okay, so it's 2 and 2/3. 8/3 and 2 and 2/3. So what you're working on today is you are starting with a fraction. You're going to set up the division problem that goes with it. You'll hear me say a lot of times top dog in the doghouse. A lot of people set up their division problems backwards. So for example, if I had 5/8, the top dog, the one on top, goes in the doghouse, in the division box, right? The 8 goes on the outside. A lot of people miss that and they always put the larger number inside. So making sure that you're setting up your divisions is one of the best ways to make sure that you're getting them correct. All right, so we're going to practice. So we're going to show our long division for taking 1/2 and writing it as a decimal. So I'm going to put the top dog, 1, in the doghouse. 2 goes on the outside. All of these divisions are going to end up being decimals. I'm running into a problem here though, because 2 cannot fit into 1. It would fit in 0 times. And then I have no other number. Here's where I'm forced to add a decimal and bring in a 0. 2 can fit into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Then I subtract, look for any leftovers. I don't have any. I'm down to a 0. That's how I know my division is finished. So I would get 0.5, or 5/10 is my final answer. All right, for your next one, for 1/3, you're going to put top dog, 1, in the doghouse, 3 on the outside. Again, 3 cannot fit into 1. It fits in 0 times. I don't have another digit, so I'm going to add a decimal, and I'm going to bring in a 0 down below. 3 will fit into 10 3 times, which is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. I'm not finished with my division yet because I don't end in a 0. So I have to add in a 0 and bring down. And I'm getting 3 into 10 again, which would be another 3. And another 9. And when I subtract, I'd have another 1. And so I'd have to bring in another 0. And I get 10 again. This process is going to go on and on and on. You're going to have all these 3s. It's never going to end because it's a repeating decimal. So when I have all these 3s that repeat, the way we write that is with a little hat or line over the 3. 1.3 or 0.3 repeating. It's a repeating decimal. Practice your notation with repeating. All right, 5/8. 5 in the box, 8 outside. Again, 8 can't fit into 5, fits in 0 times. Add my decimal, bring in my 0. 8 fits into 50 6 times, which is 48. I'm going to subtract and think about leftovers. 50 minus 48 would be 2. I don't have another number to bring down. I have to continue to bring in a 0 in order to continue my division because I don't have 0 remainders yet. 8 would fit into 20 2 times, which is 16. I'm going to subtract and think about leftovers. 20 minus 16 would be 4. And I have to bring in one more 0 in order to finish this division out. 8 will go into 40 5 times. It will go evenly, and 40 minus 40 would leave me with a 0. So now I know that I'm finished. So I get 0.625. That was a longer one. So in the next steps, you have a few slides here. We're going to be practicing the same type thing. You're going to be putting top dog in the doghouse, setting up your divisions, practicing your long division steps. All of them are going to be decimals, and you're going to show your division on your slides. So pause this, go try them, and then come back, and if you need to check your work, you can. All right, so we're going to do 1/5. 1 inside, 5 outside. 5 can't fit into 1. I add a decimal, bring in a 0. 5 fits into 10 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. I have no remainders. I know my division's finished. I get 0.2. 1/4. 1 inside, 4 outside. 4 cannot fit into 1, goes in 0 times. I add my decimal, I bring in a 0. 4 fits into 10 twice, which is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. I have to add in another 0 so that I have a bring down number and can continue my division. 4 fits into 20 5 times. And now I'm to the point where I'm finished. So I get 0.25. All right, 1/9. Something funny happens with 1/9. Again, kind of like with 1/3. 1 inside, 9 outside. 9 will not fit into 1, so I'd make it 0 and add in my 0. 9 fits into 10 once, which is 9. I have 1 left over. I have to add a 0 in and continue my division since I still have a remainder. 9 fits into 10 once. I have 9. I would have 1 left over. This is going to keep going on and on and on. When I bring in another 0, I'm going to have to go into 10 again. So now I can see that these 1s are going to keep going on and on and on and on and on. It's going to be 0.111111, right? On and on and on. So we're going to use our repeating decimal notation with a little hat on top, a little bar, and that is going to be our final answer. All right, 2/5. 2 inside, 5 outside. 5 cannot fit into 2. I add a decimal and bring in my 0. 5 fits into 20 4 times. Evenly. There's no leftover pieces. I get to a 0, so my final answer is 0.4. My last one, 3/8. This one's going to be a little bit longer, so leave yourself some room. 8 will not fit into 3. Add my decimal and my 0. 8 will fit into 30 2 times. No, 3 times. Miss Schaefer. 3 times. Let me erase that so you can see it. 3 times, which is 24. I would have 6 leftovers. I would bring in another 0 since I didn't end in my division yet. 8 will fit into 67 times, which is 56. Multiplication chart is there to help you make sure you're using it. I have 4 leftovers. I'm going to have to go one more time to get something that works nicely and add in 40. 40 would be 5 times. finish up here. So I'm going to subtract another 40, and I'm going to have 0 remainder. So now I know that I'm done. So I get 0.375. Make sure you finish your reflection as well. Describe one thing you've learned about fractions and their decimal equivalents. How do we get in between the two versions? And then make sure you turn in this assignment into Google Classroom for today. All right, hope that was helpful.